We are currently in week 3 of the Derek Chauvin trial, where the Minneapolis police officer is facing murder and manslaughter charges in the death of George Floyd during an arrest last May. And while many have been following the trial closely, others have found themselves unable to watch the trial and just the traumatizing videos being shown over and over again. And recently, CNN actually sat down with trauma experts to offer help for those who are finding the trial to be way too triggering or emotional to relive. One of the experts, clinical psychologist Michelle Cosby, actually said that she would specifically encourage any person of color to take emotional inventory of what they can handle and to seek their own support from loved ones or spiritual leaders who may be experiencing similar things. Ladies, I'm curious how you guys have been handling your emotions as this trial plays out in front of the whole world. How have you been handling this?
It's been tough. It really has been tough. I remember I turned on my TV to watch the beginning of the trial, and of course they showed the video, and it got me triggered all over again. I tweeted about it because I just felt like I was getting mad all over again. So I understand, people being triggered by it. I mean, I feel so sorry for George Floyd's family, for the witnesses. I mean, we all have to relive this. And I don't know, I know there's a judicial system in the United States, but the fact that we're going almost into a third week of the trial, that we watched a man get murdered right before our eyes is just insane to me. I really have had a hard time with it. So even if I tune in to the trial, I look away when they show the images because I just can't handle it.
It's further upsetting to see so many people that were involved in George Floyd's murder come to the forefront and to admit all the ways that this could have been prevented and all the things that they were seeing lead to ultimate death, like from the first respondents to even the analysis of the autopsy. Like, how many ways can we see people who didn't feel a sense of power because they either felt silent or silenced, And beyond that, just this thread of analyzing whether or not George Floyd had drugs in his body. Like, at the end of the day, we know that this was an absolute horrid murder, but yet that there's still any remnants of people actually looking to look into George Floyd's
or questioning
and check surveillance videos of his actions before and to see what he was like. This case alone is what it is. And for people to try to find reasoning in it between that and seeing what happened recently to Lieutenant Nazario, and then obviously the horrible murder of Dante Wright. Like, how many ways are we trying to avoid the truth here? That white power absolutely exists.
I think that is important, and I'm happy that they're televising this particular trial because there are still some people that need to understand and know what actually happened to George Floyd, and that George Floyd is not on trial. It's Derek Chauvin that's on trial.
That's right.
And it's very important to understand that. If you are triggered, first of all, I would say it's a good learning tool for teenage children, but I would say don't let them see the video, but to try to explain, first of all, it explains our judicial process in this country. It will actually be something that is a learning tool, I think. So I think that that is important. But more importantly, there are people in this country that still think that what Derek Chauvin did was okay. And that's the importance of showing the trial. And even though it's triggering videos and things like that, I don't watch that part because I don't want to relive that part. I've been a victim of domestic violence. I was in a toxic relationship years ago, and the guy put me in a chokehold. You don't know what it's like to feel your breath and you can't breathe. You don't understand what George Floyd is going through, so you have to show that. It has to be televised so that people can understand that what that officer did was way beyond. But not only him, the other officers that were with him. All of that needs to be relived because there are certain people in our country that don't understand it. But I applaud them, televising it, and I support it. I just say be careful if you have children because you don't want the children to get, so, involved in it that they have trauma. So I would say, but it's a good
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, I think it's
and
for
what we have
everybody.
to go through.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
everybody, whether it's children or an adult like me, it's hard to watch.
Do
Yeah.
you think, Lonnie, that the family should have some say in what is shown or not shown?
Because it's a police matter, I would say no. I would.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: when you look at history, Emmett Till's mother decided to show her son's body. And she did that because she wanted the world to see what those men
Yeah.
did to Emmett Till, her son. And that had a
Yeah.
profound effect on this country. Sometimes,
Yeah.
and this is, I also want to say this, just because there's a video and you see it doesn't mean that he's going to be found guilty. Rodney King. So understand that. But the point
Yeah.
is that video is evidence.
The jury needs to feel that trauma. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm hoping that that is helpful
And
in
they are.
convicting him. So in that sense, I'm like, man, if it can be used to get us the conviction that we need, then yes. But at the same time, my heart still bleeds for the family. Where I'm like,
Hey, Adrian, I'm glad they have video. Because if they didn't, do you realize what could happen?
And think about the hundreds of thousands of Black lives that were lost
Great point.
without video before social media.
That part.
I think our
Exactly.
society is way too comfortable with being comfortable. I think it's time to face that discomfort, face what it makes you feel, and then imagine what the families are going through. Imagine the people
Yeah.
that don't have the ability to speak up. Imagine so many lives that have been lost in small towns where they don't get the media attention they deserve. I mean, this has been
Exactly.
going on for so long. Get uncomfortable with it, because if it causes you that uncomfort, well, then take that and turn it into action. Find a way to actually go and make the change. Go out there and vote. This is what that discomfort is for.
Yeah.
And if you're having trouble dealing with everything that's going on, there are people that you can talk to help you go through it. You can contact the National Alliance on Mental Illness at 1-800-950-NAMI. That's NAMI. That's 1-800-950 or 6264 for confidential, free counseling. And you can also speak with someone on the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. They now provide 24/7 free and confidential support. So get yourself somebody to listen to
That's needed.
your feelings and put this out there, because it's not meant for you to hold in. It's meant for you to turn it into power. But you need to go through a process for that, and don't be afraid of that.